it means that everyone has the same income. So everyone, the income is distributed perfectly. If you have a 1, is at the maximum unfair. That means like almost that one person has all the money. And I think right now in the United States we're at like 0.42 Gini coefficient, okay? So, and by the way, Helen Gow, who got a perfect score on the macro exam, 1 of 12 people in the world. Gini coefficient, how you doing this one, was on it, and I didn't teach it that year. And she got it right then. Alright, so then you have public choice economics. And that's just saying that politicians are like business people. They act in their own self-interest when making decisions. So like, Adam Smith said that businesses act in their self-interest. The public choice economics says politicians act in their own self-interest when making decisions. Alright, and the next thing is the medium voter model, which says most voters are in the middle. So again, politicians acting in their own self-interest usually take the middle of the road policy. And that's why if you really look at, like, I'll give you Ralph Nader as the real liberal Democrat, or he's not even a Democrat, he's just a liberal, and Pat Buchanan, who's the ultra-conservative. Those people are unelectable because they're on the extremes and they're not kind of in the middle. All right, economic rent is an excess payment made for a factor of production above expectations. And if you remember, I've used Ray Lewis as the example. So when he came in as a rookie and he made $1 million a year, and then after being an all-pro, the demand for Ray Lewis increased, and now he was making $5 million a year. So the economic rent is the difference, okay? Now, where I've seen them ask a tricky economic rent is they said, if it's a horizontal supply, the economic rent is what? Well, the economic rent is 0 because no matter how much demand changes, it is still 0. Okay? Okay, so what is market failure? It's a situation in which the free market system fails to satisfy society wants. So it's a situation in which the free market system fails to satisfy what society wants. So therefore, who has to come to the rescue? Yes, it is government to the rescue. So the result is government must step in and satisfy society's wants. So that's what we'll basically spend the time reviewing today, is government intervention in these society wants. Okay? So, what are the 4 market failures? One is public goods. The second is externality, which is any type of third-person side effect. The third is monopolies. How you doing, Miss Cummings? Now that you're here, great. And the fourth is the unfair distribution of income, which we touched on a little with the Gini coefficient, but I'll also show you the curve. Hi, Brian. Okay. In each of these situations, government must step in to kind of even the playing field. All right, so you have free riders and they are individuals that benefit without paying. Flex, not that you could relate to this situation, but it'd be like people copying homework. They're like free riders, right? You do all the work, and they copy your homework. Now, of course, you wouldn't even let them copy your homework, but no, you're just not that type of person. So, like when you go in Baltimore City, and you watch a street performer, and you don't pay, if you rip off music, Canada and Japan, who might be taking on military, don't look at the private roads, because there's something there for you, Miss Wim, somewhere.
Ooh, good.
No, hold on.
I just want to check.
I'm sorry, it's over there. No, it's me.
Awesome, thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
I just was panicked about it and I couldn't find my SAT thing.
Read your tag code.
I will, always do.
It's very important.
Cover to cover.
Okay. Okay, so what is a public good? To be considered a true public good, you have to meet these two criteria. The first is non-exclusion, so everyone can use the good. So whenever some cost is involved, it usually means it can't be a public good, because that would exclude someone. So public schools are public good. I think I had national defense. National defense is one of their favorites, right? Everyone is provided, if you pay your taxes or not, our country will defend you. The second is, they either call it shared consumption or non-rival. And basically that means is one person's consumption of a good does not reduce the usefulness to others. So hamburgers are rival. Because if Dan bites into the hamburger, it ruins my enjoyment. But Dan being in school here right now does not hurt anyone else from learning. So public schools would be a public good, non-exclusion, shared consumption, non-rival. Now, here's where public schools might not be a public good. If the classes are so overcrowded that now Brian can't learn, because the classes are out of control and loud, then other people's consumption of the school has hurt his learning. But in this situation, we'll use it as a public good. Okay? Alright, so now I'm going to go to externalities and the market for cigarettes. So remember, for externalities, demand equals MSB, and you should have MP, supply equals MPC. Now I will tell you, 99% of the
Please stop by the main office to pick up your mail in your mailbox. One of those items is an envelope that you need to distribute to your B1 juniors so they know where to be seated for the SAT. Thank you.
99% of the time, an externality, if it's negative, it's shifting the supply curve, and if it's positive, it's shifting the demand curve, okay? On all released AP essays, that has been true. So, here is your market equilibrium. Now, cigarettes, secondhand smoke, pollution, all those things make it worse than the market says. So I'm going to shift supply to the left. The spot between the two supply curves is called a spillover cost. And now I've got my marginal social cost, okay? So marginal private cost plus spillover cost is marginal social cost. And this now, the new equilibrium, becomes the optimal in the market, okay? So here's what the market is producing at QE. The optimal is Q optimal. So the market is over allocated. They're producing more than the optimal that we want. So what does government do? They tax them, okay? They will tax them, okay? And the easiest way to find, whoops, I got a little ahead of myself there. To find the tax is the difference between these two lines. You could go straight up, you could go right here. That's how much they have to tax it. Now, Lex, just to throw in a little extra, the deadweight loss would be this triangle right here. And all you do for externalities, and they love asking deadweight loss, is you take the original market equilibrium, you just draw the line straight up to the new line, and you got that triangle, and that gives you deadweight loss. Now, the tricky part, Kara, is after the tax that Isabella said we should do. That line disappears. It was a short stay. All my happiness went away. And the deadweight loss disappears. Love it? Oh, jeez. What is it? There it is. So that line goes away, and we get here, and there is no deadweight loss. Okay? So, and they have asked this, if they would say after the tax, what is the deadweight loss? The deadweight loss is 0. Okay?
So when you wanna, if they ask you to measure like on the graph what the spillover cost would be, can you do like,
Just right in between these like this.
but is that the tax or is that the spillover?
It's going to be the same.
Okay.
Because you're going to, and you could go right in between these two lines here. Okay? Good question. Okay. So I think the next, then here's just a released essay. Assume that the noise from fireworks disturbs all of the neighbors on your graph. So this is a negative externality example from the AP exam. And just like we did, even though this should be MPC, by the way, this is the College Board, they didn't even put it correctly, but 35.6 answered this correctly, okay? So they really have trouble, the nation, with the deadweight loss. And notice, all you took is the market equilibrium, and you went straight up, and there's your deadweight loss. Okay? Externalities seem popular right now in the AP exam. All right, now I want to give you the other, the positive externality. Like education could be an example for a positive externality. Now, you have marginal social cost, that's in this print here. Did I give you a spot for it? Positive externality?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have marginal private benefit. Like I said before, if it's a positive externality, there's a likelihood that demand is going to shift. So demand shifts right, because the benefit of you getting educated not only benefits you, but it benefits the society as a whole. Okay? So now we have spillover benefits. Now, we've got the same problem. Here's the a different problem. Now we're underallocating. We have the market here, we have the optimal here. How does government fix this underallocation?
There's a subsidy?
They give you a subsidy. Again, you can go straight up there, which is, I think, how I'll go do it. Next, you have the underallocation. You can go straight up here to find your subsidy. If you take the market straight up, that is your deadweight loss right there. Okay?
Wait, so it's just the difference between...
The two lines. But you cannot, here's what students do a lot. You cannot go from one equilibrium to the other. Not this way. You gotta be straight up, or you can go the difference like this. Okay?
Okay, so even if it doesn't hit the axis, you just have to go up from one equilibrium to directly up to where...
To the next line. Yeah. Okay?
Would you say the supply line is?
Huh? Oh, marginal social cost. Okay?
So
Go.
the size of the underallocation is not the same size as the subsidy.
Like here?
Yeah.
No, it'll be going this way.
And so the subsidy would be between the MPD and MSD?
Yes.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah, you sure.
I'm floating in here period 2, and I need the mobile lab, so can I go get it down right here?
You sure can. Just put it over there. Did she leave? Okay, tell her all the beauties of this class, but okay, so there's your spillover benefits and your account. Okay? And then the same thing, if the subsidy happened, this would get erased. Okay? And I just gave you another example. So they gave, on a different one, supposed research shows more college education individuals receive, the more citizens. And here you go, here's your positive externality, private benefits, social benefits, marginal social costs. And again, if you just take the market line and go straight up, there is your deadweight loss. 33% got it right.
So market is just the equilibrium, it's the,
Right.
before you do anything.
And then, when you do the marginal social benefit and the marginal social cost, you have the optimal. Okay? They ask some tricky multiple choice questions that I'll try to bring in class to show you with subsidies. And I think the key to externalities when they ask you the multiple choice questions is to graph them and to look at them. Because they, like sometimes ask is like when marginal social, when marginal social cost equals marginal social benefit, is the social cost greater than the private benefits and things like that. And I think when you graph it, it becomes a little more obvious. All right, I'm going to let you copy the natural monopoly with regulation, and then I'll talk to you about it in a second. What? I mean, here. That's a non-regulated, it's the monopolies we're used to. No, but the only thing, song that makes it